good evening, good morning, good night, you lovelies. It is the one, the only Cappy D Barra, and we are here to discuss some wrestling. All right, hope all of you are having a great one. However you're catching this, whenever you were catching this. Now, realistically, this video is supposed to go out good T-minus 24 hours ago, but your boy felt a little bit of burnout. All right, I needed a quick day of recovery. Now we are back in action. All right, we are absolutely at the peak of our game, and we are going to be discussing our weekly wrestling report. All right, now I would be a fool to not discuss everything that's going on with Rhea Ripley. All right, in the storm, Big J, Big Money, Jade Cargill. To be honest, this was just simple heel work. If anybody has been following Jade Cargill on Twitter for a while, they would know that they are, very provocative in a good way, for the sake of the sport. They have a good way of raising a reaction out of people, and that is exactly the kind of fire that you want from these heels. Unfortunately, we have faces like Rhea Ripley who are just very, let's say, let's just say aren't on the same caliber of worker as a Jade Cargill. Because, for lack of a better word, we could say that Jade Cargill actually doesn't like Rhea Ripley and how she moves with creative. We have seen examples with this, with the Io and Bianca match that was kind of stepped on by Rhea Ripley because she had nothing to do, right? You look at the Naomi run that she was on, you look at the run that Naomi was on, nobody was thinking about Rhea Ripley, rightfully so, right? Because it was somebody else new in the spotlight. When you take all of these things into the equation, it's not that hard to understand that Rhea Ripley, quite literally, if she is not in the limelight, then Triple H feels like the company's failing. All right, let's look at the path. All right, she was the world champion, then she lost the world champion to Liv, right? Then Liv went over, I believe, in that feud. After this, maybe about 2 to 6 months later, she's in a tag team division with Io Sky. They win the tag titles. They hold those for a good 4 to 5 months. And now she's in the world title scene again. All right, she's been in this revolving door of title scenes for a good 2 years now. And, as much as I dislike her, there are actual workers back there like a Chelsea Green, and again, she's real easy to hop on a bandwagon, to hop on the hype train, but she is a workhorse. Raquel Rodriguez, Roxanne Perez, even people like Natty, who they'll run all throughout the indie circuit. These are workhorses who should be given a little bit of credit, but I think me and you both know they don't. All right, and between me, you, and the upload bar, Rhea Ripley isn't even the best wrestler, in that women's locker room. So I don't know what the fuck her issue is with being in creative 100% of the time. Maybe that's just hearsay, right? And I don't want to demonize Rhea, because Rhea is a really fine wrestler, but she's a really good wrestler, right? She's over with the crowd, et cetera, but it just comes a point where you have to just be professional and take it personal. And I think we could all agree that Rhea Ripley, she took it a little bit too personal, right? It's kind of like back when Javon Evans got worked into a shoot with Ricochet. Do you guys remember that? Rhea got worked into a shoot, basically, and the entire internet is up in arms because right after Black History Month, at the start of Women's History Month, this is what the fuck we're doing. This is what we're doing. We're whining on IG stories. Not friends, not a storyline. Let's try to keep things out of the ring and let's try to keep things out of the ring professional and not defame each other. And I'm like, no, she's not fucking defaming you. She said that you run too creative. It's a joke, Rhea. It's a joke. You can just ignore it. Oh God, these fucking soft ass wrestlers, bro.
Are over. No one's fun anymore. Whatever happened to fun? God, I'm so bored I could die.
Let's talk about the next thing, because honestly, I could talk about that shit all day. Rhea's soft as jelly. Jade, hypothetically, if she wanted to scale it back, she'd be doing like 0 point, if Jade was if Jade Cargill was to scale it back, she would be doing 5% less of the work she's already doing. Because the Twitter shit's 5% of her bag. Honestly, it really is. It's a decent portion of it. Maybe we could be maybe we could be a little liberal, right? We could say it's a good 20% of her bag. The aura, if you want to say that she can create over a good amount of media buzz, right? Over good media traction. But right after that, it's a competent wrestler. It's somebody who is not a terrible promo work. Like, if, oh man, it all boils down to creative. It all boils down to creative. So Jade's right. Rhea has been in the title scene for how many years? And you know, hey, if you don't like Jade, you have to admit that a broken clock is at least right twice a day. All right. Next couple of things that we are going to be discussing. There was a women's sign that was confiscated. I believe it was last week on Raw or this week on Raw. My apologies. This week on Raw, it was a sign that said main event women's wrestling, and it was confiscated. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know why, but I think all of you remember a while back when when Punk and Roman had their first face off, and I fucking blacked because they had a women's championship match before this. They had a women's championship match before this, and I think before that women's championship match, there was like some big heel segment, so the crowd was already deflated. And then you wheel these women out there to try to make like actual gold out of the shit that you have put in front of them, right? The crowd didn't react because it was a very obvious, predictable win. And right after that match ended, you pushed the wrestlers to the side and gave the part-timers the main event scene. Disgusting shit. Disgusting act by fucking the Federation, right? This sign acknowledged that and they confiscated the sign. So, hey, I don't know what you guys want me to tell you. It seems like somebody out there is picking up on the Federation not utilizing and not properly valuing women. And you can look at stories like Liv Morgan and Rhea. You could like that was completely centered around Dom. Right. And hopefully, you know, they've moved away from this whole like Stephanie, Dom, Liv thing that we all thought was going to be the pretty, you know, obvious booking. You know, on like a normal blackboard, you would probably put Dominic Eddie switch spot where like he turns face and betrays Liv's and yada yada, right? Who cares? But what I'm getting to here is Liv Morgan's direction with Stephanie Vicari has seemed to steered away from that kind of Liv Dom thing, which was just honestly was plaguing the women's division. So I'm glad that that's just not here anymore. But that doesn't absolve Liv of that very weird promo calling Chili a mud hut and CMML a flea-infested ring. State of the world being the state of the world being what it is right now, not the best. That wasn't that P, not that P. That was pretty fucking weird. And last but not least, all right, not only does Raw have a new head leader, I think it's Alex Press or something. I'm forgetting her name. Alex something. She announced it on Twitter. She's a woman, so that should be, you know, hey, fingers crossed for that one. And Road Dogg, all right, he's fired. He's out of here. They showed that bum the boot. All right, I'm very happy about this. All right, he made nothing but terrible decisions. Apparently, he quit instead of being fired. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm happy that he's gone though. That guy, he made nothing but bad choices. And you know, it's that weird clip of him being like, oh, well, I don't know what we should do. I don't know. I'm not saying you're right, but I don't really know what we should do. A lot of people harp on him for that, but I think it's deeper than that, right? Like, not only do you not know in a single moment what you should do, right, on a high stakes scenario that you're being paid for, but it's the fact that there isn't even like a backup plan. I feel like everyone should have some kind of contingency plan, and he didn't even have that. And it's like, there was just nothing. And then you look at everything after and before that, it's just bad choices. Like everything before that, I don't know, was just bad choices. So honestly, I'm glad that bro's out of here. All right, like now if we hear something like Jason Jordan getting released, maybe we'll have to start having a real conversation about what the fuck they're doing when it comes to, you know, like letting people go. As of right now though, hey, no love lost. I'll tell you that much. No love lost between this channel and Road Dogg. All right, but yeah, that was pretty much everything for the weekly wrestling report. We're going to be steamrolling directly into a, albeit 24-hour delayed, Dynamite. All right, March 4, 2026. Very interesting Dynamite. I had a good time, but I think I could have had a better time. But we're going to be getting right into that very, very soon. All right, just a quick little message. If you can like and sub, I'd appreciate it. It will be very fly. All right, let's get into this. Now, as much as I love, all right, a good two hours and a half of grappling, I gotta be honest, not a lot happened. Not a lot happened for this Dynamite. You know, we get a couple of title changes, but we're going to be getting into the nitty gritty of everything because a good 2/6 of the let's say matches, if you would, for tonight, they're not exactly, I don't really count them low-key because, you know, they're kind of redoed in this main event. We're gonna get into it, but we're going to start off the night, all right, with a very interesting choice. All right, we get a world title defense from Kevin Knight, all right, the kinetic one himself, versus MJF, all right, New York's biggest douchebag. This was a very good match. I'm saying this because, again, I assume that this would be like main event worthy, but for some weird reason, this is the first match. But, you know, I'm not gonna lie, we did have matches like this with Hangman many moons ago when he was the world champion. So it is good to see, as much as MJF, you know, despises the cowboy, he has seemed to taken over some of his more favorable traits, you know, in weekly title bouts. So we get this very good segment from MJF and Kevin Knight. I'm not gonna lie, they were booing Kevin, which is wild. They were booing Kevin for like a good, like, what, 50-60% of this match. And then MJF, I think what really got it, they were in El Paso, so I think what really won over the crowd is just he's just naturally funny. Like, it's kind of like that you know, like a Ric Flair kind of thing in the Deep South, where, listen, nobody wants to cheer for Flair, right? But at a certain point, you just had to admit that his charisma was just very naturally magnetic. So when MJF goes, "You see that? That's an arm drag." Not gonna lie, that popped me. That was very funny, very funny. But I love this match. Kevin Knight moves with urgency. He wrestles like he is on the clock, and he is on the clock. Because again, first match of the night, you better make this shit count. I'm really into the IQ of MJF, his in-ring psychology and his ring presence. But like probably one of the best in the business right now, like no question about it. And this is a great matchup for you know, the Kinetic Knights, very high octane offense. I was a big fan of this match. All right, the finish kind of happened as MJF was on the receiving end of a UFO splash. MJF kicked the ref, which allowed Kevin to, you know, essentially pin MJF for a 13 count. All right, so we should be champion, but it is what it is, obviously, in kayfabe. The referee, he comes back, you know, it's a near call. The referee comes back, you know, it's a near fall, and MJF, you know, he finds a way to slip on the diamond ring and clock Kevin Knight in the dome piece. All right, this allowed for Assault of the Earth, 1, 2, 3. All right, now my biggest thing about this match, again, it not being in the main event, weird, but maybe it's because of the finish. They didn't want to leave people with a bad taste in their mouth clicking off of Dynamite. You know, instead of a false finish for a title match, you got a title change, and again, they went into overtime. So I could see the upsides to you know, this match, but you know, we are not going to discuss this any longer. Very fun match, and I'm looking forward to eventually Kevin Knight getting into that Intercontinental, Continental, or TNT title contender scene, being that spoiler alert, he is going to be dropping this title. Like, being spoiler alert that he does drop the trios title at the end of the night. I was spoiled for it, so I got to spoil you guys. It is what it is. All right, the cycle of never-ending violence. But again, great match for Kevin, and it's a nice opener, really nice opener. He definitely did get screwed, but it is what it is. Right. Next we get the Dogs. All right, not the Dogs of War, just the Dogs. Right, maybe like they're war dogs, probably. I don't know. Gabe Kidd and Clark Connors. All right, a lot of people seem to be on Clark Connors' side. He seems to be getting very over with the crowd in the IWC, so shout out to that, right? We love to see it. This is a very nice match between these two and freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy with Cassidy and the man who will not die, Darby Allin. Very good match for everybody involved. Now again, this is a bit of an interesting match, being that we are building towards you know, a very obvious situation with Darby Allin, but again, you know, tag team matches, you know, building up to a feud, it's definitely not a foreign thing. I could have definitely went with this being a women's match though, and then you save this for the pay-per-view, being that Revolution is right around the corner. So I mean, again, I'm not too big into how the style of this plays out going into towards the pay-per-view, but again, very fine match. I mean, Orange Cassidy is one of my favorite wrestlers. He does end up getting taken out through the table. ringside, which allows Darby Allin to kind of get 2v1'd. Again, Darby Allin getting thrown around. It's interesting. It's interesting, right? It's over with me, and that's all that really matters. I'm also a big fan of the finish. The finish had Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy using both of their finishers to put away Clark Connors. And in this, right, David Finlay, he comes out. David Finlay fucking joined the production, which is a crazy reveal just out of nowhere on a random Wednesday. David Finlay is a great wrestler. Obviously the son of legendary Finlay, right? So I mean, gotta put respect on his name there. This is cool. This is a cool segment. But you know, this is a trios now. Like, these are the dogs, right? And we're going to be getting into the trios conversation at the main event portion of this show. But this going into, you know, our main event, it definitely left me wondering, oh, so now are we going to see like the dogs go after the trios championship? When? How? We don't know, right? And it is what it is. But there are definitely questions that I wanted to get answered, for sure. I also couldn't look away from the possibility of Darby Allin and Clark Connors like solo match. They seem to have a lot of really good chemistry, so I'm on board for that. Always going to be on board for that. All right, next quick match that we get is the Brawling Birds versus the Inspiration. The Inspiration are a great squash team. They have great squash energy. It's kind of like Chelsea Green, just like turned up to like 10 or 11, if you would. I'm a fan of it. I like it. I think that it's working well with, you know, the presentation of them just being, you know, kind of chicken shit heels. It is what it is. The finisher also for Jamie Hayter and Alex Winslow has gotten a lot sharper. Shout out to them. Again, I told you it's an hour in the lab and that shit would have been hammered out. They have a great little match. Next little squash match is Hangman Adam Page versus Marty Snow. Now, again, I have said that Jet's Ready Set Rodeo is at the end of this night, right, with the main event. Again, they lose. Spoiler event. It is what, like, spoiler alert is what it is. Hangman and Kevin Knight already had matches for tonight. So instantly I'm like, damn, like this couldn't just be like a Willow match. Like this couldn't be like a, you know what I mean? And mind you, it is 2 women's matches on the card, right? And that is, unfortunately, right, there's kind of like a bare minimum you need to make in this that is kind of a bare minimum that you need to meet in this industry. But I mean, if we're gonna put aside the Thekla and Thunder Rosa match that I have my own kind of comments on, I mean, I wasn't, you know, a big fan of just Hangman just taking up time slots like this, man. Sorry. You're gonna come out here and cut the promo. Now, I will say it was very cool. It was very quote unquote, let's say, like you could tell that the theatrics of it was very cool with him, like, you know, beating a guy in under a minute, then throwing his jacket back on and cutting a promo. Yeah, no, it was cool. It did look cool. But, you know, there's Dynamite went 20 minutes, quote unquote, overtime. And I think that if hypothetically 5 to, you know, 7 minutes of a match going towards a women's match, aside from, you know, aside from a backstage segment, or I don't know, everything is so finely put together. It's like a Jenga, like a tower. You can't take one thing out without replacing it, without it kind of falling apart. So I don't know, it all goes down to creative. But Hangman, he has a 2-second match. He set up for the main event with you know, MJF and the Don Callis family. It was cool for what it was, but I'm not gonna lie, I would have definitely loved to see a solo bout between Hangman Adam Page and Okada. Just it would have been nice. It would have been fine, right? Kind of goes back into my Don Callis and Death Rider situation, where the you know, amount of good match that's being had, it doesn't dumb down the fact that a simple story could be had between 2 of these guys, just 1v1. And I'm gonna keep asking for this Andrade and Jon Moxley match, because I know it's gonna change lives. But you know, I guess we're gonna get that when we get that. Hangman versus Okada, we'll get that when we get that, right? Claudio versus Takeshita, you know, we'll get that when we get that. So it is what it is. But I am very curious about the future of this trios division, and I promise we are going to be getting to that later. All right, next segment. Next little match that we get, all right, is Jonathan Moxley, the Ace, all right, one of the best wrestlers in that locker room, top 5 easy, versus Hechicero, all right, the Mad Alchemist, one of the most creative luchadors of all time. I had a very good time with this match, all right. The clash of styles that Moxley has been given off, I think he wrestled, I'm blanking on it right now. He wrestled somebody last week where it's the exact same clash of style. It might have been Kevin Knight, I doubt it though, where essentially Mox was moving at this insane pace and this slow, very methodical pace. And this paired with the very like a quick, high octane offense that was given right at that was given as a retort for everything that Moxley was trying to work around and be all strategical with, and it was just matched with this unadulterated speed. Like, it was just unadulterated speed, right? It was fucking great. I loved every moment of it. And now we're getting this extremely, I don't even know how you say it. It's kind of like BJJ at its highest level. And I don't really think I would consider Mox a BJJ guy. Like, yes, very good grappler. Again, very, very, very good wrestler in that locker room filled with phenomenal wrestlers, right? But the one thing with Mox is it's a lot more quote unquote death judo. It's a lot more stiff, a lot more how would I say, aggressive, a lot more abrasive. Hechicero, he has this way of crafting these moves, and they're so elegant, but they're deadly. And it's almost like how Mox hasn't tapped, like how Mox didn't tap any moment before when that bell was supposed to ring. Crazy to me, all right? So many fucking kudos to anybody who steps in the rings with Hechicero. Even like some of the chops that he delivers when you're not even speaking on his submission capabilities, his offense. It's brutal. It's brutal. Hechicero and Gunther match would fix all of my problems, but we'll probably get that in 2030 All Out in Germany. Wow, 2030 All Out Germany. Hechicero versus Gunther. Interesting. I'm gonna put that in my back pocket. All right. Yes, but this was a great 50-50 wrestling. There was a WWE belt jump scare. Wasn't a big fan of that. Wasn't a big fan of that at all. It was like the 2014, 2015 WWE belt. It was like the iteration after the version that The Rock brought after he took out this belt. I'll just put a picture up. It's kind of confusing. It's a whole timeline with the belts. But long story short, Hechicero and Moxley have a great match. This leads to Moxley obviously picking up the W with a curb stomp and a Death Rider. This was great showing from Hechicero. Don wasn't on the comms. I don't believe he was, because I think he was on the comms for the main event. Oh man, this is the first Dynamite where I think I've very subtly grazed past a Don Callis segment. Interesting. All right, we're gonna put a pin in that. We're gonna put a pin in that. I love the idea though of Mox going up against Luchadors, waiting on that Andrade and Mox match. I'm waiting on the Andrade match. It's on the way. I know it is, but for right now, we get him and Takeshita. They have like a little brawl segment last week, so I just love everything we get from them wholeheartedly. All right, it's all very entertaining to me. It's all very entertaining to me, okay? Now, the final two matches that we will be discussing, all right? Not aside from, Swerve trying to put Brody King on a shirt. We get Thekla and Thunder Rosa. Now, the only issue that I have with this match is that it is not the main event, right? And now just stick with me for a minute, folks. I think, as I stated last week or so, Thunder Rosa, obviously, from not wrestling for a good 200 days, she has a little bit of ring rust. Now, would you put somebody with even an inch of ring rust on your pay-per-view card? No. With that said, Thunder Rosa and Thekla should have been a built-to match, with Thunder Rosa just naturally getting over again with the fans. Because I hate to say it, but Thunder Rosa just being Thunder Rosa and having all this tenure in AEW, it doesn't do anything for the newer fans who haven't seen all of her accolades, who haven't caught up with the greatness of Thunder Rosa. So, saying all this to say, you have to build these women properly, all right? Thekla's getting the proper rub, right? She's doing her thing. If you would have ever told me that you can go to the company of AEW within 5 or 6 months, just become a world champion, I would have believed you, because Mercedes Moné became a TBS champion on her first night. But world champion is just that kind of plaque that it's up there. It's big. Like, that is the big marquee, right? So not wanting to put anybody with any ring rust on a pay-per-view card, understandable, but man, the way that Thekla moves, it's almost like she's maybe a good 3 weeks of rehab away from like fully being at that exact peak. And maybe because she's just, she's chasing the dragon more or less, we are seeing Thunder Rosa wrestle at a very muted level of what she was doing. It's kind of like when Kenny came back and, you know, the announcers had to dog walk us, like they had to like literally slow walk us every single day, telling us that, hey, he's back from injury, he's back from surgery, like he's back from surgery, guys, he's back from injury, like come on guys, let's understand him not completely looking as graceful if he hits like a 450, something that he could do any other day of the week before his massive surgery, right? Saying all this to say, I just wish that they gave Thunder Rosa a little bit more breathing room and a little bit more playing time, because I would have really liked a Thekla and Thunder Rosa fleshed out feud going into the pay-per-view. But, you know, again, it's the same thing with that Stephanie Vercare, and maybe it was like a Roxanne Perez or Raquel Rodriguez. I believe it was Raquel Rodriguez. Yes, Raquel Rodriguez and Stephanie Vercare many moons ago. It was obvious that that wasn't going to be a title change due to them not main eventing. Same situation here. Good match, very fun match. Thunder Rosa, you know, again, she is not at, you know, the peak, but I mean, again, like how much more sympathy can you give to somebody who's literally coming back from a career altering injury? I would have loved a stiffer match, but Thecla's a beast. Thecla's a beast, and this match works perfectly for what it's supposed to. And I'm not gonna lie, the idea of this match just putting like, and I'm not gonna lie, the kind of perseverance of the perseverance of Thunder Rosa makes this match 10 times better, right? And this is a great showing from both of these ladies. I again happy with the world title defense. We get 2 world title defenses. You know, just for that, I'm gonna bump this up at least 2 levels. Whatever my original grading is for this, I'm gonna bump this up too, because we get 2 world title defenses and a secondary title defense. Okay, all right. You know, yeah, let's get into this main event. We're gonna talk about the final review, all right? We get a 6-man tag match, all right, in Protokadaaaaaa, or Aussie Open if you're a DPW fan, with the Don Callis banner art swinging above them ever so elegantly, versus Ready, Set, Rodeo. He said, you know, as I've probably already said in this review, Hangman and Kevin Knight have already had matches for tonight, so it just made sense that they would be going under. A lot of people going into this pay-per-view didn't expect that, though, reasonably so, because my nigga, it's Hangman. It's Hangman. Like, come on, Hangman and Jet Speed, Speedball Mike Bailey was moving like a they-them possessed. Okay, quite literally the world's fastest non-binary, Speedball Mike Bailey. Nutto shit from that. I'm also very impressed with the capabilities of Kevin Knight selling. I don't know if it's like acting. I don't know like what exactly that realm would be, acting or like whatever. Like, I feel like it's like halfway acting or something. Listen, it's great. And if you were telling me that Kevin Knight would be out for the next 2 months with like a bruised rib and like a sprained kidney, like a split open like liver, hey, I'd believe you. I would believe you. That's the kind of work that we get from him. Obviously allowing for Mark Davis to get the win for Protokadaaaaaa and the DCF. Yeah, all right. The Don Callis family strikes again. The Don Callis Avengers are dripping with gold. Okay. Hangman, he gets ejected from this trios division. Thank God, because there are people, you know, like Mark Davis. There are going to be individuals like Jack Doyle, the Demand. I guess we can kind of get into it now. Hangman being in this tag or trios division, it weighed it down. I mean, like, look at, we have the Dogs as of right now with Finley, oh Lord, I'm terrible, Gable and Connors, right? You have the Demand, that's Ricochet's group. You have Luchasaurus, which always adds in some kind of third band to fill out a match, right? If you really want to talk about it, the Ascension, even though they're broken up, hey, Papa Gunn's still wrestling, okay? Max Cash can don some tights anytime he wants, all right? Then that's not even getting to the depths of it. We have the Hurt Syndicate, the Elite, the Don Callis family. We have the Death Riders. We have the Conglomeration. These are all multiple factions with people above 3, right? Or at least bordering 3, that are going to be at some kind of contendership for these trios belts. So Hangman being here, it was just kind of weighing it down. I'm not gonna lie in saying that Davis getting the rub for breaking his hand isn't so fucking beast. Listen, I don't know if that was a called spot or not, but I think him breaking his hand literally is going to change the trajectory of his AEW, maybe his wrestling career in total. And big shout out to him. That's pretty fucking cool, pretty tight. We're waiting for Jack something to return. You are missed, my boy. But I mean, very cool Dynamite. Again, had a couple of booking creative issues here and there, but that's really just getting to the nitty gritty of it. I mean, I was very pleased with everything that we got from everyone. Again, Hangman is back in the world title to mid card, maybe international title. Listen, that's a good place for somebody of his caliber to be. Trios are just weird, right? Now we can get Jet Speed versus FTR. Now we can get Jet Speed versus the Young Bucks, right? Just good shit. Good shit. Speedball Mike Bailey, godly wrestler, Kyle Fletcher, the porno star, Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. Everyone looked great. Everyone looked great in this match. And this, again, very sound Dynamite. As I said, I would be bumping this up from my natural review, right? So after I'm coasting off on everything that I fully got from this Dynamite, I would give it a 7 naturally. With the title defenses and everything that we got in tow, that's an easy 9 out of 10. Very impressive Dynamite all around. And this is everything that I have officially for March 4th 2026 is Dynamite. It's been your boy Cappy. All right, hope all of you have a good one, however you catch this, whenever you catch this. All right, and I have a lot of other things in store, so as I always say, all right, you all stay tuned, stay safe, and stay beautiful.